I entertain, my Hoisin chicken and mushroom rissoles are always on the menu because they're quick to make, delicious, and can be made ahead, which is great. The first step is to get the fry pan nice and hot before we start cooking the mushrooms. And while that's heating up, let's prep the mushrooms. This has got a bit of an Asian feel, this recipe, so we're using a combination of buttons. Some fresh shiitake goes really well, and some of these oyster mushrooms, the big one, the white ones, and they come in all different colours and the pink are beautiful. So with the shiitake, important just to remove that stem. That's not edible. And then roughly chop these mushrooms. Did you know that a serve of mushrooms has around 100 kilojoules? It's almost nothing. But they're not just low in kilojoules, they're low in carbohydrate and virtually fat-free. And what's more, research shows that mushrooms help control our appetite, so we won't overeat. That's got to be a good thing. That's the last of the mushrooms. You can see the pan's nice and hot, so we get a little bit of oil into the pan, and then the mushrooms go in. You can hear them sizzling straight away. That's what we're after. Cook these for about 10 minutes, shaking the pan every now and then, not too often because you want to retain that heat in the pan. So we want to add some fresh ginger that's been grated. Always use the fresh stuff, way better. In go some green onions. Give them a quick stir. So now we can turn that heat off because the heat from the pan is enough to cook those onions through. Transfer the mixture into a glass bowl. Because we want to set this aside to cool before we add it to the chicken. And now they're cool, let's finish the recipe off. We add our lean chicken mince, 1 egg. Always crack the egg into a glass dish so you know it's nice and fresh. Egg goes in. Some breadcrumbs, about 2 cups of stale breadcrumbs. Tomato sauce, a couple of tablespoons, and some hoisin sauce. About 2 tablespoons of this as well. I love this stuff. Just before we mix that, I'm just going to chop up this coriander. If you don't like coriander, you can use parsley. Into the bowl. And then we stir this together. Once again, clean hands. And if you've got kids, this is a great way to get them involved in cooking. Now we're ready to cook. Instead of rolling them into little balls and pan frying them, I like to spoon the mixture into these little muffin tins that we've just greased with a little bit of olive oil. Just press this mixture in, and they don't rise very much, so you really want to fill this up all the way to the top. So these go into a preheated oven, 200 degrees fan force for about 15 to 20 minutes until they're firm to touch. Presentation is always important, and these little rissoles look great on these Chinese spoons. So pop a little hoisin sauce onto the bottom of the spoon. I can smell them, they're already... Oh. See, they're nice and golden, and just touch the centre and it should be nice and firm. Now while the rissoles are hot, run a palette knife or a knife just around the outside to loosen the little rissoles. Straight onto the spoon. Top with some coriander leaves. These go great with a glass of bubbles, and not only will there be no leftovers, but your guests will want you to share the recipe, which you should do because any recipe with mushrooms is a recipe worth sharing.